Hello, and welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. Alicia Robinson coming to you. And today we are diving into all things around the identity gap. Now, this is the place that I like to call the messy middle. And it's that place where you've let go of an old identity, you've shifted and moved from that, but you haven't quite landed into the new identity yet. So it can leave us in this space of what sometimes feels like no man's land, right? It feels a bit like limbo, feels a bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm Arthur or Martha, or if I'm going here or there, or where my attention's meant to be, or what I'm meant to be doing, where's my focus? And it can seem to shake things up for people. Now, this is something that we all go through, right? However, our levels of awareness change around how aware we are of what's going on, or how to hold ourselves through it, how to get through it and come out the other side in the best way possible for us, right? So I totally get this, because not only have I been through this several times myself, but I've also helped, supported, witnessed so many others through it as well. And there seems to always be a moment before a breakthrough, or before a new identity is anchored, where everything feels slightly off, right? And sometimes we can't necessarily put our finger on it and be like, yep, that's the thing. That's it. That's where my focus needs to be. That's what's feeling off. And we oftentimes think that this means something is wrong, right? But it's not actually the fact that anything is wrong, but it also is like nothing is feeling fully right. So this is the piece where you're falling out of an identity that no longer fits. And this can feel really foreign in the body. And there can be parts of the body, nervous system, energetic field that clings to that old identity and the things that were, because that is familiar. Even if it's not serving you for your highest good, it feels familiar, it feels safe, it feels in the known, right? When we are stepping into a new identity and coming out of this no man's land into full certainty on who you are, who you're here to be, where your focus point is, can feel fucking scary. And it can also trigger your nervous system if it is unfamiliar, right? And then there's a little switch that goes off. This isn't safe. We shouldn't be here. We should continue to play small. We should continue to hide. We should continue to not know who we exactly are, because that is the safe space, right? This is a little bit more out of your comfort zone over here. It means you need to start making some decisions and owning your power and stepping into who you are here to be. Now, just because it brings up feelings of, what's the word I'm looking for? Feelings of fear, or feelings of resistance, or feelings of you wondering, like, oh my gosh, is this for me? It doesn't feel good. So am I meant to be doing it? Doesn't mean that it's wrong, but what it does mean is that it's new, right? It's new to your nervous system, it's new to your field. And so therefore it feels unfamiliar, and it can be stepping into the unknown, feels scary. It feels out of that comfort zone, right? And so this is the space where if we learn to master, it makes this process so much more easy and more graceful, right? Because there is parts in here where things are going to be ripped away if they're no longer aligned, right? Things are going to feel like they've been shaken up, upside down, tipped over, thrown over there. Things start to happen, whether it be, emotionally or physically, and you just can't understand why. But when we can look at the bigger picture, it begins to make sense as to why this is happening, right? And why it's coming through in that way. So when you're someone like I'm guessing you are, that you know that you are meant for more, deep down there is this inner nudge, or this feeling of, there's more out there, that it must be possible, but you're not sure how to fully believe that, or how to know, okay, well, what steps do I take to get there? Or you've spent so long sort of where you are and not sure, that it feels like that's just the way it is, right? It feels like that is just the normal and that is just where you've got to stay and where you've got to be. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the case at all. And it is possible for each and every single one of us to really step into discovering that aligned path for us, what that is, and also getting really fucking clear on your identity and who you are, because it's not always about what you do, but it's who you are as you're doing the thing, right? It's who you are to hold the thing, to create the thing, receive the thing, whatever it is you're wanting to create in your life or your business. And so really getting clear on who you are. And when I talk about this and identity, we want to go deeper than what you do and the hats you wear. We want to get beneath the labels, beneath the roles, beneath the responsibilities that you take on, right? So when you're in this place of the messy middle, it is your body whispering, this version is done, but your mind hasn't quite caught up yet. So there's a conscious catch up going on here as well. So if you feel like you are outgrowing yourself, you are, right? And it is something that happens because we are here to grow, to change, to expand for our highest goods, right? On that journey of evolution. And so there is nothing wrong with this. However, depending on your awareness, the process and what we go through can be so different for everybody as well. So some of the ways in which that this can show up and what you're experiencing right now is feeling disconnected to things that once lit you up, right? Feeling a bit irritated for no real reason, getting triggered quite easily, or for things that you're like, you don't even understand why. Feeling flat even when you've got wins coming in. So you're on this cycle of not enoughness of, oh, I want this. Yeah, I'm going to get that. That feels good. And it's like short-term satisfaction, right? Because then you get there and you're like, oh, okay, cool. What's next? What's next? What's next? And you are externally seeking for the feeling that you're looking for. Once I have this, I'll feel that way. Once I create this, when this date comes, when I have this in a row and aligned, when I've figured out this, when I know exactly what this is, I'll feel better. You are externally seeking and looking outside of you for that feeling, right? Waking up thinking, is this really it? Waking up maybe feeling a wee bit flat or a wee bit like, oh, what's today going to bring? Right? Maybe there's a deep inner nudge of knowing you're capable of more and knowing that it must be there somewhere, but feeling unable to access that right now. Maybe you're feeling a bit frustrated with yourself, feeling like you should be further along or clearer than what you are by now, like you've been doing all the right things, you know? Why isn't it happening? It can be frustrating. Sometimes it can show up as wanting space and silence and clarity, but also wanting answers yesterday, right? Maybe feeling overwhelmed by strategy. Maybe feel behind or feel like you're not in the right place or you're not where you should be or could be or are meant to be, right? There's this inner nudge, whether you can explain it or not. There is this inner awareness of, I'm not living out my full potential, right? And sometimes when you are a go-getter and an ambitious person, you're go, and you're doing the things. People are suggesting to you, maybe try this, maybe do this. So you're like, yep, taking action, doing the thing, and pushing so far up against that, nothing's fucking happening, right? And when we start to look at a visual like this and you're pushing, there's no space. There's no space for it to come through. So when you take a step back, breathe, learn to surrender and let go of what that is for you, you create all of this space where things can land, the answers can come through, results can happen, right? The clarity comes, the identity anchors rather than push, right? You can feel the energy in that as I'm saying it. It's really something to master, right? And that's what we're going to go through today is a bit of an understanding of what is going on. And then what the fuck do we do about it, right? How can we make this process easier, shorter, better for ourselves, right? And something I want to just throw out right now for you is clarity hasn't arrived yet because the identity that can hold it hasn't formed yet. I'm going to say that one again. Clarity hasn't arrived yet because the identity that can hold it hasn't formed yet. Just really allow that to land and see what happens and what comes up within your body. So what we're going to look at is what is actually happening underneath when we're in this space and we've got these experiences and this happening of the way that we are feeling, right? In that place of limbo of like, oh, fuck, well, who am I? Or what am I doing here? What is actually happening underneath that? So when we start to look at your old identity, right? This is when we want to become aware that your old identity was built from survival, from childhood conditioning, from past traumas, from people pleasing, from responsibilities and taking on so much responsibility, right? From the collective, from society, from communities, from people you're around, from things you've picked up on, from things you've learned, right? From patterns you've taken on, from pressure, from trying to be good or enough or getting it all right, or who you needed to be for others, right? This is the old identity. And that identity once served you. It's helped you to get to where you are now, right? It's helped shape you into the person you are, to give and get you the learnings and the lessons that you've needed along the way. But now it's not quite a fit. It's not quite aligned. And what is happening is your system is recalibrating into a version of you that can hold more abundance, more peace, more truth, more alignment, more authenticity, right? More leadership. And those things that you desire and that are out there and possible. So when we look at this, your old identity was built to survive and your new identity is built to thrive, right? So your new identity can be built through and from you in a place of consciousness. You're aware of it. Our old identity is something we sort of pushed into from, childhood or from society, people around us. And it's so different for everyone of how long we will, live in those patterns and those cycles and those things we've picked up on until we become aware of them, right? But this isn't a blame game because, it comes from ancestral patterns, from generations before us, from something said, from a different perception, from anything and everything where your mind, your body, your system has taken it in a certain way and created that as an anchor point from you. And then it started to run the show, right? So your whole life is now based upon these beliefs, these stories, these meanings, these patterns that have been created in your unconscious mind because you only know what you know, right? And everything we know, we've learned from somewhere. And we can't take an outdated identity into a future and a new identity that requires your evolution, right? And this is all part of it. And a really important, potent piece is people are, again, so often doing the external stuff or looking and searching in the external rather than being like, well, where is that within me? Where can I create that? Or who the fuck am I to hold that, to create that, right? Because if you're coming from a place of the messy middle and you're really uncertain, you're unsure, you don't know what's happening, you're living from an old identity or old patterns and programming, and you're doing all the things, of course, it's not landing in the way that it could be, right? So rather than focus on, oh, the external, what am I doing wrong? What can I do more of? What can I do less of? What do I need to find? Trying to think your way into feeling a certain way. We get to look at the most powerful piece of who are you that is doing that, right? So in this space, it can feel very messy. It can feel emotionally messy. It can feel physically messy. It can show up in so many different ways. But here, I really want to normalize the discomfort that this does bring and reduce the shame as well. Because again, every single one of us go through this in our own ways. And it is a part of the process of evolution, of growth, of shifting identities and moving into a more conscious, more aware, more intentional way of living, of processing, and of bringing through what we desire. So when your identity dissolves, sometimes, and I touched on this before, but sometimes your body panics, your nervous system, your energetic field, right? Go into this space of what the fuck is happening, because it recognizes change as unsafe. So when it's not normal, when it's not something you've experienced before, when it's not something that your system's like, yep, okay, I know this, we're safe, I know where this is going, it can feel foreign as fuck. And therefore, this is the place a lot of people will stop or get stuck in that messy middle, or kind of go back to that old identity and the old way of being, because it can feel too hard, too scary, too big, or they're simply just not consciously aware of what is happening. So slip back because that's a little bit out of the comfort zone, or again, just don't know on the steps to take, right? And of course, you feel confused because you're no longer anchored into who you were. So that's why no man's land makes sense, because it's like, but who am I? And your unconscious mind is scrambling for those things to make sense of who you are, to put that into a label, to put that into words, to be able to say, I am this person. Right? I am the mum. I am the wife. I am the business owner. I am the house cleaner, right? I am the gardener. I am the chef. They're all things of what you do. The labels, we're going beneath that. So when you're feeling confused because you're no longer anchored into who you were, but you're also not yet anchored into who you are becoming, you see now why there's this tug and pull and this space of unknowingness, right? And sometimes this can lead to a bit of a void in that process of shifting through, and that can feel like fogginess, disconnection, restlessness, low motivation, wanting to run away from a certain thing, situation, person, or your business, being like, oh fuck, should I just give it up? Was I even meant to do this? Oh, that offer's not aligned. Oh, well, I really thought that would make an impact or that would sell, but it's just not. What are my true gifts, or how do I like get them out there to the world, right? A place of questioning everything. Maybe you're feeling a bit emotional. Whatever way that is showing up for you, I want you to know that it is okay. And congratulations on being here, right? Because this is a step towards that. And it's a pretty big thing to take that step. So acknowledge yourself, celebrate yourself, because it doesn't need to continue being like that for you moving forward. So when we look at this, your nervous system is not resisting the future or what's to come or what's for you. It's resisting the uncertainty. So there may be a shit ton of resistance there where you're like, yeah, that feels really good, but there's like this rubber band that keeps flinging me back, keeps bringing me back. Or I get, 5 steps forward and then 10 steps backwards, or however that may feel for you. Your system is resisting uncertainty, which of course it's going to because it's there to keep you safe, right? It's doing its job. And then we grow resentment and frustration towards it because that's just what I want, right? But there's a process in which we can go through to create this and have your nervous system feel safe within this as well. Sometimes when you feel like you are breaking down or you're going through shit, right? It's not really about the breaking down. It's actually about the breaking open and what that is opening for you, what that is bringing through, right? So if you've been in or you are in those spaces of feeling like shit's just going wrong, one thing after the other, or you feel like you're in that place of limbo, or you feel like you've been shaken upside down, or you feel like people are falling out of your lives, situations are happening, you're experiencing a flat feeling or just an unknowing or something that you don't really desire or is frustrating you or not the best feeling. It is happening for a reason and it is helping to move you through into where you're going as well, right? But again, there's things, processes, systems we can put in place to really make this a faster and more graceful journey and process for you. So I'm just going to have a sip of water. This is something I speak on. Again, not only have I witnessed, watched, helped, supported, guided so many people through this space, I've also fucking lived it. I've been in it more times than one. Like I've been through it several times and I get it. I really, truly get it. And so, I've been in those spaces where I'm doing all the things, I'm doing everything right, and I'm, a bit of a go-getter. So I'm taking the action, I'm putting things into place. And yeah, maybe it's got me so far, but then it will come back, or it just didn't feel like enough. And I was on these cycles, or it just wasn't working, like, pushing up and getting frustrated of why the fuck is this not working? I had to come to realization again several times that there was a part of me that was done. But while this part of me was done, I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I didn't know who that meant I was becoming. And so I would create this big internal story of what is going on, or as I would look into, like, what do I love to do? Whereas this for me, it wasn't there because I was so busy giving and looking externally at how can I help these people? How can I do this? How can I, be this person to my kids and to my husband and show up for my business, for my clients, for the impact I'm here to make and my friends and those around me, right? But I was doing all of those things while not actually knowing who I was deep down beneath those things. So people could look at me in that way of all the things I do, the way I show up, but I was fucking dead inside. I wasn't clear on who I was. I wasn't clear on what I stood for, who I was here to do, to be, right? I had to choose to pause, to recalibrate, to surrender, to go inward. And that was a process too, because surrender for me, for years, I'm like, yeah, I've surrendered, I've decided, I've let it all go. Until I actually fucking learned what that meant. Until I actually learned that, oh, surrender and letting go isn't about forcing to let anything go, right? It's not about, yes, I surrender in frustration. I surrender to you, like, help me. It's actually about letting go and surrendering. Now, until those words or the meanings of those land for you, it can be hard to comprehend, or, we think that we are in that place. But it's the truly going inwards and creating the spaciousness, which sometimes can be the hardest freaking thing to do, right? But when we can do that, it is also the most powerful. because what that brings through is something that can be really hard to put into words. So when you're in this space, there's different fears popping in, whether consciously or unconsciously. And they are things like, what if I never feel like myself again? How can I surrender or let go? Like, how's that going to bring me results? How's that going to get me anywhere? I can't just fucking do nothing, right? I'll lose momentum. What if I never find the clarity? What if I just continue on feeling so unclear, feeling so fuzzy, so foggy, so unknowing, right? And a big, big thing that I see come in for a lot of people is, what if I don't know who I am without the old version? And this is where, people experience grief and things from letting go of an old identity. And then it's looking at people have resistance and still continue to have cords attached to that old identity, because who am I without that? Who am I without that people pleasing? Who am I without that forcing, pushing, proving, right? Who am I if I don't abandon myself? Who am I if I'm not an overgiver anymore? What does that then leave for me? And the field, again, is clinging on to those things that it knows, because that's the way it knows how to operate. But for me, the moment the new identity clicked into place, or I decided on that and fully shifted into that to anchor that in, stepped the fuck up, claimed my power, made some decisions, everything energetically shifted, right? In that moment. And first we shift internally, and that naturally shifts things externally as well. Because I couldn't think my way out of it. I had to become my way out of it. And I want to just say that for you again, like really allow these words to land. You cannot think your way out of it. You have to become your way out of it. So if your logic mind is getting caught in, this is the way it needs to be, this is how it needs to be, this is how I get through this is the way I need to feel, this is blah, 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 what is that going to do? Thinking, right? Coming in here, allowing, becoming is going to be the way to move through this. So identity work, right? Identity work. It is one of the most underestimated, powerful freaking things that you could ever do. And again, I learned this the hard way, because I did everything else and all the things and whatever's until I actually came to the identity work. So even when I started to get some success and all the things, that was cool. I'd sort of touched on it a little bit. And then it just never was enough. So I'm externally seeking and looking, and those cycles and those patterns are continuing, right? Until I got right to that root cause of, the fuck does this keep playing out for me? Why does it feel so good for a couple of days, and then I'm confused again, and then I'm questioning again, and then I'm like, am I even aligned? Am I even in the right places? What is happening? Then I'd be in that place for a few weeks. Oh yeah, okay, that's something. Take that idea, that feels good. Couple days later, not enough, right? Set a goal. Yep, achieve the goal. I'll feel better when I'm there. Get there. Nah, I need to, let's keep going. Right? Identity is the internal quality of the person making the decision, the internal quality, right? And our identity is fucking everything. It really, really is, because it's the filter that our thoughts run through. It's the energy behind your actions. It's the beliefs beneath your behaviors. It's the standard you live by. It's the self-concept you unconsciously embody. So that's a pretty big deal, right? It's a pretty big deal. And I'm going to just take the guess that that's something you probably are wanting to master, right? something you're wanting to be clear about, to be confident about, to be certain about, to know who the fuck you are, what you stand for, what those next steps are for you, what it is you're here to do, what the way is to get there, the trust, the embodiment, right? Because I can tell you now, the strategy of anything you do in your life, your business, is not the problem. The self, the you that you are bringing to the strategy is. Because you will never, ever, ever be able to outperform your identity, right? You cannot outperform your identity. So I wanted to speak into some truths of this for a moment, because the thing is when we're here, right, we can get so caught up in trying to figure it all out and trying to know what needs to happen or what's going to happen, trying to micromanage the situation. What we do is we actually block things and stop things from happening, because again, we're holding so much control over it. So just picture you're holding a rope, right? And the rope's getting tighter and tighter and you're not fucking letting go. That rope is starting to cut you, right? It's starting to damage things because you're holding on. Imagine just letting it go. Even just doing that energetically right now as you're listening to me speak. Let that go. The control and the micromanaging and the expectations. Let it go, because you are not supposed to know everything right now. You're really, really not. And it's okay to not have it all figured out. You're not behind. Your timeline is perfect for you. Divine timing is a thing. This process, going through this, even though it can feel a bit unsturdy and a bit shaky and a bit tricky at times, it is a sign of evolution, right? Not a failure. I mean, I personally don't really believe in failure, because I think, we either learn or we win. However, it's not even a going backwards, right? It is a sign of evolution, because this shows that you are growing, you are evolving, and that's pretty cool. We're not supposed to rush clarity, right? We are supposed to embody what clarity is coming for. So if we, again, try push, push, push and force the clarity and think our way to it, it can be a bit tricky. But when we embody it, we allow it, and we make decisions from an empowered, aligned place, that's when it all falls into place. And this doesn't mean you're stuck. It doesn't mean you're behind. It doesn't mean things are going backwards. It means you are in transition. So I just want to give you some identity shifting reframes that we can use here, because this is not a plateau. It is an upgrade, right? You're not confused. You are expanding. Your desires are rearranging your reality. So I just mentioned about divine timing, right? And it is a real thing. And everything, when you can start to believe and trust and know that everything is happening for you and not to you, things will start to feel so much more easy to process, to deal with, because you know there's a bigger reason for everything, right? Because sometimes it does feel like that rug pulled out from under your feet. But there is always a bigger reason, purpose, intention, lesson, learning that is coming from that. So when you can learn to fully trust and step into that place, magic really can happen, because it's your internal reality, right? And this is where perceptions come in, because two people could be looking at the same thing. Man, 10 people could be looking at the same thing, and every single person has a different perception, right? So same as two people get on a roller coaster. They get off. One loved it, wants to do it again, best thing of their life. The other's white as a ghost, feels sick, worst thing ever, hated it, never wants to do it again. They've just experienced the exact same thing. right? And so when you get to change your perception and realize the filters in which your mind goes through to create the internal picture that you're creating for your perception, then it's a pretty cool thing because it opens up your awareness to so much more of it's not only your way or there's no real rights or wrongs or this is it. It's again the trust, the allow, the surrender. So when we are in this place, your energy is unplugging from the old version of you. And that process, depending on the cycles, programmings, and what we're stepping from, is different for each and every person. And perception comes into that too, right? The way you respond, the way you react, your perception of it. I want you to start to look at the fact that you are not losing yourself when you're here, right? You're not going crazy because I had that. I'm in it and I'm like, am I batshit crazy? Like, what the hell is going on? You're not losing yourself. You are meeting yourself. It is definitely not the end. It is the becoming, right? It is the becoming. And your whole life changes the moment that you stop trying to resurrect the older version of you. It really, really does. So, what I'd love to do now is just guide you through a wee mini activation, right? And what I'm going to do is get you to just close your eyes down. Might feel much more powerful. Just close your eyes down. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Deep into your heart space. Just feel yourself relaxing. Feel your body getting heavy on the surface you're sitting on. And just knowing that right here, right now, there's nothing else you need to be doing or thinking about, but just being here right now, listening to the sound of my voice, answering the questions that come up or allowing words or what needs to come through to come through. Just knowing you get to relax, you get to take this moment for you. Letting the worries of the world, any stress, any tension, just melt away just for a moment. And start to just feel into and discover the energy that is flowing within your body right now. And just become aware if there is any tension or tight places or restrictions. And duality is a thing, so also become aware of the openness, of the expansiveness, of the light that you also feel. You are pretty incredible. So as you are in that space, really just stepping into that space of awareness, I'm going to ask you some questions. And for now, allow what comes up to come up. Now, these are things you can take on a board. You could come back and go over them again, write them down, journal on them, do what you want to do. For now, as you're going through this process, just allow them. Just allow them. If you want to pause after each one and write it down while it's fresh on your mind, please feel free. If you want to just listen and allow, see what comes up for you, please do that too. So the first question I'm going to ask in this space of awareness is, who did you have to be to survive your past? The next question I'm going to ask here is, who have you been pretending to be in order to be liked, to feel safe, to be accepted, to be successful, and whatever that is? What ways have you pretended or fronts you've held up in the past in order to be a certain person that you feel like you should have been or that others expected you to be. Take a couple of deep breaths there and really just feeling into this next step of really releasing. And the first question I'm going to ask here is, what part of you is exhausted from carrying this identity? The next question, what are you done being responsible for? The next question, what version of you is finally ready to rest? And just become aware of what's coming up for you here, because there is aspects of you, especially when we're in the spaces, there's aspects and versions that are fighting, that are holding swords and shields, that are like, they think that that's their role, right? They're trying to help you. They're trying to support you. So we're not here to make it wrong or judge them, but allow them to come to awareness, to become a team, to put down the swords, to put down the shields, to give up the fight, to relax, to surrender, to start to work with you, right? But they're only doing that because they feel like they have to. They feel like that's their role. So allow them and those aspects of you to feel safe. This is what I take people through often, and we go into this process and actually make the shifts and bring every single aspect of you into harmony and into your circle of wholeness. So every aspect and version of you is working together as a team. The energy is in flow, and you are this amazing, powerful team that works together, right? It's pretty beautiful. So now I want you to just take a couple of deep breaths and step into the place of becoming. And just ask yourself, who am I becoming? Who am I? Who are you? Beneath the labels, beneath the roles, beneath the responsibilities, rather than just use this as something you listen to. And, your unconscious mind is always listening too, so shifts will be subtly happening whether you realize or not. But rather than just having it that and listening, take the action, answer the questions, make some decisions, right? And if you don't know, you're unsure, you feel any big resistance, let's have a conversation. We'll see why that is. What is that there for? Because there's a purpose and intention, right? We're not here to make it wrong. But who are you? Beneath the hats you wear, beneath the roles, beneath the responsibilities, who are you? And if you're going through this, I'd love to know. Flick me a message. Comment here. Let me know. Who are you? The next question here is, what version of you is quietly calling you forward? Might be quiet, might be quite loud too. Maybe you just haven't quite seen it until now. What decision would this version of you make today? And last question here is, where would this version of you no longer abandon self? Because as you go through these, know that you don't step into her, you remember her, you embody her, right? So as you're there, I want you to feel the momentum within this, the shifts that are occurring as you are going through this. I want to give you one thing to do today. That one thing is take 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes and put your hands on your heart and breathe. Breathe. And just tuning in, listening, connecting in. And just ask, what do I need to hear from myself right now? And see what comes through. See what comes through. Now, for some people, 10 minutes of silence is like, whoa, fuck, what is going on, right? It's okay if thoughts come. It's okay if you uh, think you're getting caught up elsewhere. Just decide to take that 10 minutes, set a timer, do what you want to do, and just tune in. Even better, practice that daily and see what happens, because I promise you, you will experience shifts through that. And also being intentional about what you're asking for, about what you're declaring, about what you're putting out there, about who you are, right? Because when you declare what you are done with, the next level becomes available. When you become clear on that and you're like, yep, okay, that I'm releasing that, I'm moving that, and then do the process or do the shift that is needed to create that, you've created and opened up so much space and expansiveness for what does serve you, right? It's pretty cool. So this is exactly what I help people navigate in my world. It's a moment that I see change lives every single day. It really is. And when I see this click for people I work with, everything accelerates. It really, really does. And honestly, you don't need more doing. You need a new internal foundation. And that is really what I specialize in. And I honestly believe it's the most important aspect of anything and everything. Anything we want to create in life, do in life, be in life, this is really the most important part. And those that are in my world, and obviously you being here listening to this, you are in my world in some shape or form. And if you decide to stay in my world, or you have already been a part of my world, this is the level of depth that you'll experience, because it's such a big, big piece of who you're here to be, of your soul purpose, your aligned path, and what it is that you are here to create and bring through to the world as well, in a way that is made for you, in the way that feels really good for you. So really, to bring all of this together, you're not meant to stay who you were. We're not meant to stay the same old versions of us and continue to play out cycles and patterns and programmings, right? You are here to be a cycle breaker, to be a trailblazer, and to really create that path, not only for yourself, for your family, for your lineage, for those in your home, for your kids, and for, generations after you as well. Those patterns and cycles can end with you, and the powerfulness and identity of who you are and who you're becoming right now as we speak is something that's going to create something long lasting within lineages that is really hard to put words to. It is a massive, massive, massive ripple effect, right? It really, really is. So when you're in this place, whenever you feel it come in, come on, be there. You're not off track. You're on the verge. You're on the verge of something really freaking big. And this identity gap, this is the moment your whole life will make sense in hindsight. It really is. When you've come through that process and that path, that journey, and then you can look at it from a bigger picture, you're like, wow, it begins to all make sense, gives a deeper sense of trust, makes you realize why things have happened the way they have, right? You are becoming someone you haven't met yet, and they're already really proud of you. You are so much closer than you think. So keep going. Keep going, because so many people give up or try to stop the process, halt it, stagnate it, and get themselves stuck in this loop, in this cycle right before the breakthrough, right before that identity fully anchors, right before that shift that changes everything for you. So keep going. Now, one thing I want to leave you with here is you don't find your new identity, you choose it. So if you're sitting back thinking it's going to just all land and hey, some things will, but thinking it's just going to all be there and put into place and you don't know and you're uncertain, just become aware right now that you get to choose. You get to choose it. I'm going to say it again. You do not find your new identity, you choose it, right? You remember it, you discover it, and you allow it to come through. Oh, it's been an absolute privilege and honor to be here today and share with you of what we have just gone through. I would absolutely love to hear how you found this and what's come up for you, and can't wait to jump back on soon.